Hey there, I'm Mike Manguy. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about deployment versus release and why you need it a little bit and how it can deliver value with a little less hassle than, say, branching strategies. What are we talking about? What is the difference between deployment and release? Why it's important, and how can I do it? To give a quick definition, deployment is the process of moving the code from a place that a developer would normally work with it, they say their local laptop. And we're going to talk mostly about web or mobile development right now. And it's the process of moving it from their laptop to a server somewhere. If it's web, it's you're moving from your laptop to a web server. If it's mobile, it's moving your laptop to an app store that can then be installed on a phone. And we distinguish between deployment and release because you can deploy code continuously, and as long as you protect that code with a switch or some mechanism to prevent a user from seeing it or using it, it can be on their device or on the web server running in their browser. They won't know it. It won't impact them. And you don't have to fall back to strange, backing code out or deploying in and out or arcane branching strategies with lots of merging. And if you've ever been through like multi-branch merge strategies, yes, people use Git with great effect to do stuff like that. Generally, it's a pain in the butt without a ton of value. Very simple illustration of what I'm talking about. The box on the left is a developer machine. The middle is a server, which would be a web server for a web app. And on the right is the customer's machine, the browser, Chrome, Edge, whatever you happen to use. And this works right? Like you can just keep pushing code when it's ready. Put a new feature. The line is a feature. Developer makes a feature, pushes it to the server. Now the customer gets it. Where does this start to fall apart? Well, typically, when you've got multiple people or multiple teams working on multiple features, we see feature 1 and 2 are ready to go. We want to have the customer see it. Feature 3 is not quite ready, but he's still pushing his code to the server. Well, now the customer's going to see an incomplete feature or one he's not supposed to see or she's not supposed to see. So, what do? Well, a lot of people, and tools like Git, Mercurial, these great tools that allow you to create branches and different code lines. What a lot of people do, they go, well, 1 and 2 will manage each 1, 2, and 3 independently on these code lines, branches, as we call them. And then we'll only merge things or deploy things to the server when they're ready. Unfortunately, what happens, and I don't really have a good picture of this, those 3 code lines are all independent, but is shared code typically in there. And trying to keep them in sync but not accidentally merge in feature 3 to feature 2 and then back the whole process up tends to be problematic. And if you're in a large organization that's using this strategy, the merge hell, the giant merge of doom that, you've both two teams have spent months working independently, and now the inevitable happens. You try and jam that code together, and then you spend another month trying to reconcile the problems that come up because people change code in different places, somewhat shared, but it's just typically a problem. If you don't know about this problem, you might not have it. Don't worry about it. The rest of this isn't for you. So, the basics. We're back to the simple model here, right? 1 developer, 1 server, 1 browser. When we talk about feature switching or feature flagging, or there's toggles, there's all sorts of other ways to do this. Effectively, what it means is you put some sort of logic on your server that says, if I know that this feature is ready, then show the customer the new thing. Otherwise, don't. That's the simplest way to put it. And obviously, you need a way in that server environment to say, is it ready or not? But that has nothing to do with the deployment of the code, right? Should be managed independently. should have nothing to do with deployment of code. It should be, frankly, it should be a different person's concern, right? The release manager, the feature owner, the product owner should control whether customers see that or not. Or if it's a technical thing, like you've got different infrastructure or whatever, then the ops, DevOps, DevSecOps, whatever you want to call them today, should control that. Not the feature developers. Important detail. Now, maybe you have a product team, and again, you have an aligned team, but it's a different concern. Getting the code onto the server is different than making the decision to show it to customers. And typically there's QA, there's performance testing, there's other things that have to happen. By the way, in other environments that need to switch to know whether, well, do I want to performance test the new feature or an old feature or a new version of a new feature? Decoupling those two things de-stresses, by the way, your development staff, because they're not now trying to decide, well, should I merge this in or not? Because typically these merges are, once you're done, you're done. It's very difficult to back out. Never mind that doing it in the first place is difficult. So if you're on this always forward, sort of trunk-based model, you really need to think about these things as very independent. Why? Because now, in this model, right, everybody can continue to deploy their code to the server. That doesn't mean there aren't design and architecture considerations that need to be taken by the dev teams, because obviously if they're editing shared code and they're stepping on each other, that all needs to be either designed away or put behind the switch itself too, the configuration that says whether you should use this or not. But what it enables is the dev teams are unblocked. They're continuously delivering code to your runtime environment. Then whoever is managing that, and it could be the same team, just hopefully not the developers, maybe your QA team, or if you have a release management team, they would do it. They set the switches on and off in, by the way, you could have different environments than this oversimplified one. Whether it's ready to see for customers or they want customers to see it. And quite frankly, there are more permutations, right? Because this now unlocks the capability to, maybe that switch has a little bit of logic that says only show it to 10% of our customers, or only show it to customers in this geographic region, or stop showing it to customers if the system's overloaded. That sort of dynamic environment configuration as part of the release process should be completely decoupled from deployment. If you've got to do a deployment to disable a feature and you feel that pain, this is what you need to start thinking about. And if you're having problems with your business partners not understanding that, start to decouple these two. Conceptually decouple the concept of deploying code to an environment or to a device from releasing it or enabling it for a customer base. Well, that's all on this for now. Thank you very much. Have a good day.